Hi, everybody. How are you doing? I'm Hiramoni, and welcome back to another episode of Get Set Global. Um, a quick brief about today's show. Um, so, there are words that don't have a clear cut definition. We have got perceptions about it. We define them based on our experience and what we see around. And one such word is success. So, when something as important as success can't be defined, then we look for tried and tested formula that mostly works, or at least it seems like it does. Of course, there is pressure. Growing up is a lot of pressure. It's hard, and we all want to do well. So, one way is to study hard, get into a professional qualification, and find a suitable job. And the other way is to follow our passion. But by following passion, are we considering, giving up studies or throwing our job and picking up the art and make it a life goal? Or can passion also mean infusing inspiration to everything that we do that helps us keep going happily? Well, my panel of guests today, they are in a perfect position to answer that question. Growing up in Assam, they followed the conventional path uh, of becoming a doctor and an engineer, but they ended up doing something completely different. They traveled the unknown path, and guess what? They made it work for themselves. They went places. They are the award winning world class experts. They are global Assamese. They are achievers, and it is my absolute pleasure and honor to have them on the show today. I'm looking forward to their stories. I'm looking forward to the risky roads that they took and also their achievements. But I'm equally excited for you. Hearing them, you will be able to say that if they can, I can too. If their passion have taken them to places, then my passion has equal potential too. If they say that today's world is full of opportunities, then that must not be an illusion. That will hold true for me as well. You see, it's up to us what we want to see. And I can assure you that today's guests, they will help us see and think things differently. I am supremely excited to get inspired. Are you? Let's dive in. So I'll bring my first guest, and he is Jayanta Pathak. Hello, Jayanta.
Hi,
Lovely to. Hi
namaskar.
there. Namaskar. Lovely to see you. I will just try to do the setting right. Yeah, great. So Jayanta, he has joined me from Atlanta in
Atlanta,
America,
Georgia. Yes.
and you are from Assam, obviously from Guwahati. A quick introduction for Jayanta. So Jayanta is a music producer and a composer for films, television, commercials, and non-film music
Music.
album.
Yes, that's great.
But there is more. There is more about Jayanta. He has worked with various, artists of different genre from India as well as abroad, like Melissa Bell and Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. Your first big hit was a music album called Jalwa, and since then, no
Yeah,
looking back.
long back. Yes.
Yeah, no looking back because albums after albums, films after films, and I think your last Bollywood film was Race 3. Um, you have also done original scores, soundtrack and background scores for not only Indian films but British as well as American films.
Yes.
And what is significant is you are known as the king of remixes, and I think that is significant. So coming from Guwahati to Mumbai, from Mumbai to England, and now in America, what an impressive journey, Janta.
Oh,
And
thank you.
it's
And
my
thank you
pleasure
very
to.
much having me here.
No, not at all. It's
Yeah.
a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So, but
Awesome.
it didn't start that way. You studied engineering. You have an engineering degree, and then you obviously decided to take up music
You'll end
as
up
your
in
full
different things.
time.
I had lots
So,
of, twists and turns in my life, and
yeah,
starting from somewhere and not ending up, still working on, still trying to learn lots of things.
sure.
Um,
No,
yes,
I'm interested to know about obviously that transition, because from engineering to music, and surely
correct, correct.
you were good at it, so that's why you made a mark so quickly. But that transition, why, how, where, all of that.
Exactly. I'll tell you, music and the performing arts was my passion from my childhood. I always wanted to do something in music as well as entertainment industry, films. I just love that, and I was always thinking if I can do films sometimes in future, sometimes, and definitely music as the first subject of mine. Then with the education, definitely in our time, I mean, 80s, early 80s, it's not very easy. I mean, Assam kind of thing. There's not proper institutions where you can go learn things like that. And as you said, everybody got to be engineers and doctors
Yeah,
and a proper profession that were more respected in the society than going and different line kind of things. And people can never think of like you
sure.
be musician and do something big or kind of. And it was taken as a hobby, and everybody used to learn in things, playing music, singing lessons, and the kind of things. And my case is a little bit. When I was in school, I got the opportunity. I really worked hard, and definitely, it's a practice. It's kind of uh, playing music, and then go and learn properly things. And I got an opportunity to play in the All India Radio in class 10. I was a general artist. And that was the beginning for me. And when I came to college in Allahabad, then I formed a rock band. And I always, because rock scene was really very popular at that
Sure.
time. And lots of people, and lots of rock bands were influencing us to play, why not play the guitar like that, these. So I picked up my guitar definitely from childhood, and when I was 7 years old, and I continued that. And in college days, we used to perform in different places in youth festivals, and that gave me the drive. Like instead of playing somebody else's music, why not make your own music? There's progressions and things. So I did used to do compose at that time only. But the thing is, we never got the opportunity to come out. So
Sure.
I decided the only place in India is Mumbai, Bombay, that
Yeah.
time. So I came to Bombay, and that thing started there. And if you want to know about more things about the Bombay life, yes, uh, started
Yeah.
there. I mean, with
Yeah.
televisions,
Yeah.
films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that you're being humble, but you have done some fantastic work, and think
Oh, thank
people
you.
know about this. But I also feel that nothing goes wasted. Like engineering probably has helped you in developing skills
Confidence
like,
and it's a skill.
yeah,
Utilizing the talking to people, utilizing the technology probably, and some of the
absolutely,
things. Yeah, they're utilizing the
absolutely.
computers and kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So nothing goes wasted. We'll carry on. We'll carry on with our discussion.
Okay.
But I will like to bring my second guest, and she is Jahnavi Baruah. I can see she's there, so I'll just bring her to the panel. Hello, Jahnavi.
Hi, Hiramoni. So,
Uh,
Hi, Jahnavi.
let me see. Yeah, that's a better setting. So, Jahnavi, thank you so much for joining in. I'll give a very quick introduction about Jahnavi, and then my first question will start. So, Jahnavi is an award-winning author. She's joining me from Bangalore today, but she's from Assam. And her first book, I think, came out in 2008 called Next Door. Soon after that, you came up with your novel called Rebirth. Undertow is another book written by you. You have been awarded the Charles Wallace Trust Fellowship for literary writing. I think that's an achievement. You were also shortlisted for Men, I think it's called, is it called Men Asian Literary Prize, as well as the Commonwealth Book Prize. So yeah, there's so many recognition there. Plus your books are in the syllabi of many universities. So, you have been so widely recognized for your work, and it's my absolute pleasure to have you here today. But I was talking to Jayanta. Jayanta studied engineering and became a musician. For you as well, you studied medicine. You are a qualified doctor. And then you completed your MBBS. Your setting is fine. It will be all right. MBBS, and then you didn't pursue that, but you picked up writing. So I kind of wanted to know, obviously, about the transition as well, because, growing children, they want to become doctors. And of course, it's a prestigious profession. But you gave that up and picked up writing, which guarantees nothing, So what happened? How that transition?
So I think I'm an accidental writer, Hiramoni. I
Okay.
I wanted to become a doctor. There was no pressure. That was one of my passions, and I pursued it all the way to postgraduate level, and then took a break to, as usually many of us women do. A lot of women have the same story. I took a
Yeah.
break to begin a family, to raise a family, thinking at that time it would be a short break, and I'd come back to medicine. So I had a small son, a baby boy was born. Unfortunately, he wasn't too well. So I
Okay.
thought, okay, I'll stay at home in case he's an infant, and maybe 6 months, a year. It stretched to almost 4 years before he was better. And by which time, because I was so housebound with him, I was reading a lot. Reading was also another passion. My mother taught English literature, and we grew up
Okay.
with books all over the house. The breakfast discussions would be about Jane Austen versus Dickens and Nathaniel Hawthorne versus somebody else, So we had that background in reading. And I read throughout my medical studies, I read throughout my work, I read throughout my pregnancy, and I read throughout tending to my young son. From that reading, continuous reading, came one short story, which won a prize, which actually set me off on the road of writing. I started writing more short stories without meaning to publish, just for myself, just as something I was doing constructive while doing in the house. And lo and behold, it became a collection of short stories, which Penguin India was brave enough, I must say, to take on a new writer with a short story collection. Short
Sure.
stories are notoriously difficult to publish and sell, but this became a collection, did well. Then came the novel, then came the next novel, which came out this year after a 10-year gap, and it's called Undertow. It became a lockdown novel. It went straight into the lockdown, but slowly being opened up. It's slowly being read and being talked about. So that's my journey, an accidental writer.
Okay, all right. That sounds
Awesome.
fantastic. Yeah, I think if you have Jahnavi, if you have got your earphone or a headphone, because I think the voice is
It is
kind of
down.
echoing a little bit, but that's okay.
Oh,
I mean,
I'll
I
get
can still.
closer because I don't think I have the headphones, so I'll just try and get closer. Hang on. Is that better?
That's
Is that
better.
better? Okay, good, good,
Absolutely, it is
good,
better. But
good.
no, thank you. It's just so wonderful to hear your story. And I was telling the same thing to John. Nothing goes wasted, because I know that medicine is a very difficult course.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to sit down for hours and study. And I think that's like a transferable habit. Now that when you sit down for hours for writing, I think it's a transferable habit from your time in studying medicine. I'm coming to Jayanta now.
Yes.
So, people can say that, you had got your basics right, in the sense that, you got your qualification, you're an engineer, you could do a job, but you liked, music, so it was your choice. But not everyone has got the same flexibility because of their circumstances. Maybe they need to earn every month, whatever that is. So,
Well,
what,
yeah. Sorry. Go
yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So, what would you say to that? I mean,
Uh,
would you say that that's yes? Or if somebody says that, they can, I can't, it's almost like, an instant excuse? Or would you
correct.
say that today's world is full of opportunities, so pick up
Correct.
anything? So,
Correct.
what would be
Today's
your take?
world is totally different than what it used to be in our time,
Sure.
in 80s, probably early 90s. and you have to do these specific things, especially the places like our kind of hometowns and places in Assam, Northeast, probably in India. Everything is like surrounding the things with your career, what he's going to do or what she is going to do, and have to do this, have to do that, and more of than themselves, the kids, the parents have more saying in their careers, right? So now the thing is totally changed today. Everybody can do anything, whatever they love to do from their childhood. If they want to be in journalist like you, if he wants to be a writer like Jahnavi, if he wants to do something in the filmmaking, graphics, animation, so many things, thousands of things are there today. So and secondly, this good thing is like nowadays there are so many institutions to teach those skills and lots of jobs opportunities by there. Tell me frankly, I mean, if my colleagues, I don't want to be little horse in there, like the friends I still in touch with, we used to study in my college, what they're doing. They're not creating anything, being an engineer. They're just doing some spreadsheets or Excel sheets, something that. So I mean to say it's like that. When you have a passion to do something and you're good in it, you should pursue that profession.
Yeah.
And in our time, in the hard time, like we never got proper institutions to learn music. We didn't have anything, and only institution probably we remember was the FTI, Film and Television Institute of India,
Yeah.
and it was really hard and really big hurdle to get into it. And I never got that opportunity. Maybe I don't know what system it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
I think today, like I should have been there and do something. Then probably I would have been do better and something like that. But still, okay, there's no never ending in this career. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
so so
Fools.
I always say the kids or any students or young generations, they should never think of like, okay, I should be a doctor or engineer because of people are saying, your parents are saying something like that. Whatever you love it, you can do it today. I mean, there are lots of opportunities. Yes.
I
Yeah.
love that. I absolutely love that
Yeah.
because, yeah, there was a point when we had a handful of professions which
Yes.
guaranteed a security.
And nobody used to give any damn. Okay, fine. Oh, you're not engineer. Oh, you're a doctor. What is doing? Oh my God.
But yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
thing.
sure. But we
But
have moved on. I mean,
yeah,
nothing wrong with any of it. But I think what your point is, if you see that, you have a natural zone of doing great in something,
yeah,
then by all means follow it because today's world is different. Opportunities are in
absolutely.
abundance.
With the
So,
technology we are doing, like we are talking, we are sitting in London, Jahnavi sitting
absolutely.
in India, we're talking all these things and graphics, animations,
Yeah.
designing things, programming, all these things. So many things are
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no room for excuse anymore. No, well said. Coming to Jahnavi, Jahnavi, obviously, like we said before, it's when you made that transition from medicine to writing. Sometimes it can be quite scary, knowing that your parents always want the best from their children, their safety, their security. So coming out of it and picking up something which doesn't guarantee any of it, so that can be scary, especially if the family doesn't support you. So I want to know whether you had that support. And the second part is financially. If let's say you were broke, you must have had to do a job or something to have monthly income. Would you still have picked up writing?
Very interesting questions, both. The first one, absolutely. Absolutely. I think also because the reason for my leaving or transitioning, I didn't leave medicine to write. I left medicine to be at home to look after my young son. So I think there was no question that the family supported me totally on that, completely. And my husband, my parents, my in-laws, everybody, right? Secondly, at least in India, to shift from an established position, we still haven't come, at least in writing. I wouldn't encourage anyone to say, yes, I'm going to be a writer without having some sort of monthly income from somewhere else. It could be something to do with writing. You could be a journalist, you could be a teacher, you could. run a writing workshop, because at least literary fiction, the kind of fiction I write, which is different from commercial fiction, which is um, not that much income generating, would be difficult to sustain a family on. So think carefully, have something else in hand before you begin to write. Possibly when you're established, possibly once you're established, you could make it a full-time profession. So that transition you have to be a little careful about still in today's day. It's very different in the West. Book sales are different. The numbers are huge.
Yeah.
So you could, with your first book and your second book, actually sustain yourself for many, many years. So it's a fine difference, but it's a critical difference in your day-to-day living.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you are lucky in a way that you had the family support. Because I still remember, I learned this later on in my life, that every time I said I didn't have support from family for something, it was not about them, it was about me, because I was actually not fully convinced about it. And until you are fully convinced, I don't think you can convince others. So I think you always knew that writing is your thing, and that really helps, I suppose. I would come back to Jayanta now. So
Yes.
my question would be, you know, again, this is a statement which may not be true where you are sitting right now. Um, but, people obviously perceive people based on their profession, right? So, for example, let's say you are an engineer, you would be perceived as somebody who is intelligent because you cracked that entrance, and you are probably financially okay. But people may not.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
So people may not perceive the same way for a musician, especially the new ones, budding ones. So
Again, yeah, we're coming.
have you experienced or have you seen others experiencing anything like that?
Yes. That's a good question. Like, see, the I mean, eventually, everybody cannot be an engineer. Everybody cannot be a doctor. Everybody cannot be a musician. Everybody can be a sportsman. Everybody cannot be a filmmaker. So it's really different. Like, you have to be good in it, whatever you do it.
Totally.
And secondly, like education, first of all, you have to be go under institutions to learn music, to learn filmmaking, to be a proper maybe a writer. I don't know that part of its art because I'm not very much have much knowledge about that. But definitely, I can say in the entertainment industry, if you want to do big, good, you have to be trained well, and you have to have passion for that. It's not like the sick of you're getting in because you got achieved star marks in your class 12 standard and get a seat in the institutions. It's just sick of people are saying, and it looks like lavish and kind of lifestyle. It's not that. You have to have inner side of you to have passion, as well as like you want to do something in your life, and you're good in it. Definitely you can be, I mean, nobody can stop you to be a successful professional in that line. I think I see that way. I mean, I don't say, but yes, everybody jumps into the same thing. Is I don't suggest that. When you realize you're not good in it, definitely have something else to do. I think I advise to young generation only that much I can say. Because from my personal experience, I'm saying yes, it was not very easy. I came through lots of ups and downs and different, it was not very easy for me to achieve. Now I'm still not successful. I said still I have long way to go and still learning things. Still have to reach where I want to be tomorrow probably. But things are like that. But you have to be
Yeah.
good. I mean, you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to be educated that way. I think,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so true. So true. I think it is almost the responsibility of the parents and the
correct.
children to observe, isn't it, what they are good at, and
Exactly.
find a profession or qualification around it and then go about it. Yeah,
That's
true.
true.
Jahnavi, again, I think similar question. People may say that, all right, she has made it now. People know her, her books are kind of well recognized. So her advice, her suggestion, all right, it all makes sense. But if she hadn't made it, none of it would make sense. So, going ahead with a traditional path is always far more safe and sensible. What would you say to that?
Actually, I'll balance it, a bit of both. As Jayanta said, today we have access to a lot more than we had in our times in 80s and 90s, right? So for writing particularly, you could always do a creative writing degree. There are very good what they call MFAs, wherein you do a Master of Fine Arts in creative writing, which teaches you a lot about the craft. They can't teach you to be a great artist because that has to come from within, but you can
Sure.
get the practical skills, right? You can train yourself to a degree which we didn't have the opportunity to when we began our creative pursuits. Also, with that MFA, if your writing per se doesn't work out, you could teach. So you'd have to balance it. You'd have to be smart about it. I tell youngsters, you have to have an alternative means of earning an income which allows you enough time and creative time to write, and you see which way it goes. If your writing does well, go ahead. Maybe you can prune your teaching. If your writing doesn't do well, maybe you could be a fantastic creative writing teacher. So I'm just saying creative writing because that's the most logical connection. But you could do something along those in that path on that stream. So balance yourself. It's going to be
Yeah.
foolish to think that you can sustain yourself as a writer, definitely a filmmaker or a musician, like Andrew said, in the early years. So get a degree in an allied field, and with that backup, you see that you feel much freer, and your creativity possibly will be overflowing. When you're threatened, when you have your back
Yeah.
against the wall, right? So
Yeah.
balance the both, definitely.
Yeah, I think similar point really what Jayanta said, you saying the same thing that you have to be good, but then you also have to get a course, a qualification to understand, and that's how you become an expert, I
I mean, the
suppose.
training, yeah, training definitely. And then,
Yeah,
but from
yeah,
education, I'm not saying education is like train yourself and learn
yeah,
your
yeah.
profession. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, no, absolutely. And John, if I ask you, anyone who is following an unconventional path, why you think they should listen to or not listen to what others are saying, and who are confused as well, what would you say to them?
See, as I said, unconventional way is kind of like the term if you use might be not 100% right.
Yeah,
Like, see, there's so many opportunities, as I said, like that. I mean, as I realize today, and obviously, it's unconventionally where like he or she probably wants to do something what is not existing today or something. But what I see is everything is possible. Why not? I mean, if you have know the exactly the subject, or like you think you have enough talent uh, to achieve something, and you want to do a profession on that, and you want to make a professional life on that uh, uh, in that particular subject. But at the same time, backup things is, as Jahnavi said, is yeah, in our place, kind of places where we grown up and things. Maybe yeah, you should always have the plan A, plan B, plan C kind of things. Probably that might help
yes,
practically.
yeah,
But
yeah,
when you think you are good in it, as I said before, and when you think it's your passion and you know you can achieve somewhere, because nobody else can tell you than yourself, like how you are good in it.
yes,
Because, being a sports person, being a musician, being an artist, being any skill in any profession. So definitely you can do it, and don't dishearten or something like that.
yeah,
And there are a lot
okay,
of people I have seen,
yeah,
and they're not only me and not probably Jahnavi alone, but lots of people like they start somewhere and end up somewhere. And I have lots
yes,
of engineers, doctors in my field, in film industry and music field. They're doing good.
yeah,
So
yeah,
just like
yeah,
that, like
yeah. No,
you have to
I
believe
couldn't agree.
yourself. Bottom
Yeah.
line is that yes,
True, true. I mean, I only had to, I think, use the word unconventional just so it's easy for people to
yes,
understand.
I
In
understand.
yeah,
With
today's world, I don't.
conventional ways of being a doctor, engineer, lawyer, or
Yeah,
maybe
although
politician.
Now again, nothing wrong with that, but I think nothing is unconventional anymore. So, Jahnavi, last question for you as well. So, anyone who is, wanting aspiring writer and not quite sure how to go about it, would there be any advice from you?
First would be to recognize that you want to be a writer. Why do you want to be a writer? I always tell, I teach a bit of writing to children, and I always say it's not enough to just be able to write English well or write your language well. It's like I use the analogy of an art teacher who knows perfectly well how to use his paints, his canvas, his easel. But not every art teacher becomes a great artist, right? He could be a very good teacher of art, but he may not be that original voice we will remember into the next century. So
Yes.
understand that just knowing your writing well or reading a good story or knowing how to craft a good essay is not enough. Who are you? What is your place in the world? For a musician too, what is there inside you which could be original? What is your voice? Will it resonate with people? So understand that, understand where you are, and prepare yourself with these skills of going into a creative writing course. Read widely, deeply, read in every genre. Read a thriller, read a romance novel, read in your regional language, watch
Yeah.
films, music, writing. I think that just is a spectrum of just creativity which are linked so closely together.
That's true.
So
Sure. Sure.
develop yourself and see if you can be that original voice that we look forward to. So I
Sure.
would advise youngsters to start that way.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful advice, I suppose, but, because we are restricted, with our timings, and also I'll have to say goodbye. But before that, thank you so much to both of you. And, your work has been so hugely appreciated and recognized. It makes me feel proud as an Assamese. And I wish you both all the very best for the rest of the journey. So goodbye and take good care.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much,
so
and
much.
thank you for having us.
And
Yeah. Okay.
Not at
pleasure,
all.
pleasure. And thank you for having us. And nice to have met you, Jayanta.
All
Yeah.
right.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you too. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So, Jayanta Pathak and Jahnavi Baruah, they both, I think, stressed on the point that there is not just one way to get to the destination, but there are many ways to get to the same destination now. They have also stressed on the point, what Albert Einstein quoted once, that everyone is a genius, and don't judge. If we judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then the fish will always in a whole life keep thinking that it is stupid. So find where you are good at, and then find a qualification and go ahead with it. I have my next guest, and who I would like to bring to the panel, and she is Mridula Baljekar. Mridula, thank you so much for joining in, and
Hi.
lovely to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Lovely. So, a quick introduction about Mridula. She is from Assam, but then she lives in the UK for many, many years in a place called Windsor, where the Queen lives as well. Uh, uh, Mridula is a cookery writer, a culinary consultant, and also a broadcaster. Her book, The Complete Indian Regional Cookbook, is awarded by the Gourmet International Cookbook Awards. She has been also recognized with many other awards, like winner of the Great Taste Award, winner of Cookery Book of the Year. She has also broadcasted 52 episodes of her show called Mridula's Indian Kitchen for Carlton Food Network. You have been featured by so many television channels, both in India as well as in England, like I think Channel 4, NDTV. You also appeared in Chrissy B show. Um, Radio channels like BBC Radio 2, LBC. I mean, you have been hugely, your work has been appreciated and, recognized extensively. So I am sure I have missed out on a lot of things. So please keep filling in as we go ahead. But, when you were growing up in Assam, probably your family, including you, didn't know that one day you will be known for cooking, or people will appreciate your work worldwide. So, I mean, when you were growing up, did you know what you wanted to become and how you landed into this world of cooking?
That's a very good question. Like Jahnavi said, accidental writer. I'm probably an accidental cook because I was less interested in cooking. As a youngster, all I wanted to do was to play football and cricket with my brothers and their friends. And that didn't go down very well with my grandfather, as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I was put into my grandmother's kitchen, which was a very traditional kitchen. And her kitchen looked to me like an Aladdin's cave because she had all these beautiful lentils and spices in glass jars. And she asked me to help her marinate stuff, and I did, and I cooked. I think by the time I was 11, I cooked a whole family meal.
Mm-hmm.
Then I moved on to my mother's kitchen. She had a different kitchen. My mother was way ahead of her time. She was a fantastic cook. So I learned all the finer points of Indian cooking from her, and I really enjoyed it. I got into it. So yeah, when we came back down from Shillong to the plains, as we call it, during holidays, I just used to get into the kitchen and cook for everybody. Um, and I hated growing up. My sister still curses me that I used to leave all the mess. I didn't want to do that anyway. Um, so when I came to England, that was a different story because at home you had help, but you don't have any help.
No.
So I had to cook everything, and I used to think how much to put in. I remember my grandmother used to say this much, put that in a spoon, and then I those days I was not at all into cooking. I trained myself as a private secretary. I took a course at London Chamber of Commerce for 1 year, and then I worked in the City of London in banking.
Sure.
But later on, I moved to cooking because that's where my heart was.
Yes. Do you know what? I mean, you say that cooking was accidental, but I think the skills were not, because I think it was always there. It
I
just
think I was
was
there. Yeah.
waiting for the opportunity to come out. And I think it's such a fulfilling profession. I mean, it almost passes some kind of message, a message of
Yeah,
love, of care, of
definitely.
compassion. Yeah, it's really fulfilling. Now, while you are here, I will bring my next guest as well, and we'll continue with the discussion. And my next, hi, Dada, guest is Yasobanta Mahanta. Dada has joined me from Austria today because that's where he lives. But he is actually from a very small village of Lakhimpur called Pathak. Dada he's a Yozu. I think I'm just calling you Dada, but I should call you by the name as well. Yasobanta Mahanta. He's an entrepreneur. He is a hotelier. He has a state-of-the-art hotel and a restaurant in Austria for last 16 years. He's the first Indian to have received the MasterChef Austria title. He told me that when he was growing up, he used to walk to the school 5 kilometers one way. So every day, 10 kilometers of walk, to get to the school and back. He also told me that, he wanted to do something big. And so he did hotel management at the time when most people didn't know anything like that exists. Then he came to Austria and he did his PG. He went to America, to Long Island, and he was a personal chef for Princess Princess.
Yasmin Aga Khan, yeah.
Yes,
Yasmin Aga Khan. Aga
yes,
Khan.
Ninaga Khan. Yes, and you served celebrities like Paul Simon. You said, but then you got back to Austria and you started, this built this empire of hotel and restaurant. But I think more than that, you are providing job opportunities for so many people, and it makes me feel so proud that coming from such a small village of Lakhimpur to this, where from being the first Indian to have received the Master Chef title to, providing livelihood to so many people, not in your own country, but in a foreign land. Dada, I am so excited to hear your story. I mean, we have got time limitations, but very, very interested to know the
Yes.
story so far.
Thank you, Hira, to having me in your show. As you said, this from Kauripathar all the way to Austria, it's a long way. So my story is very long. It's so it's a very difficult to explain everything, but I'll try my best.
Sure.
Thing is, the Kauripathar is just to rectify. Kauripathar is in near, like it's called the area called Helem. This is
Hello.
like near to Gopur, is Sonitpur district before, and now is the Vishwanath. So
So
Lakhimpur is a bit far from us, but our district is Vishwanath. The village is called Kauripathar.
okay.
That was like now is some infrastructure is going on, is developing, but it's an interior place. We are almost border to Arunachal Pradesh. So it is yeah, how to start. We came from a lower middle class family. My parents was primary school teacher. They had more social work than doing teaching because they have half of the life almost no salary they got. But we had farming, cultivation like Ketibari Asile Amar. So, but it was good that my parents was teachers, so they always encouraged us to educate, to go to a school, go for higher study. So that was also there always the good thing what we had. For me, the mom always used to say us when we were a childhood, say, "Dangor kotha bhabile khoros nohoy." So always should think big. You don't. It costs nothing. So that to my kotha to hodai mor mane it was a mantra in my life until now, and that always stuck on my mind, and always try to think big. So that was my I think this the way where I started my life and ending up here. And it was difficult. It was because we didn't get many information in our life when we supposed to get. It was always too late when I got it because of this background. Thing is that I realized later on, but not in the when I was young, that I always want to do something different. That was my from childhood my nature. So I was a dusto lora. More namtu asile, my nickname was Kanai. The Dusto Kanai. That was my nickname in the village because I always want to do some different. I made also trouble for my parents because of all not supposed to do things. But that was my nature. I realized later on because when I passed my class 10 with that school with my long walking, so I want to do commerce. Commerce, that was not common. Nobody has done in our region what is the commerce education, and nobody in the family. But I told my parents I want to do commerce because there is a new faculty open in Dorang College in Facebook. Then I joined commerce. I didn't know what is commerce and all. So that happened in my life many times. Something come to in my mind, want to do something different. Then I start and always learning by doing. That happened to also hotel management. When I did my commerce, this Assam agitation started 1978-79, and we lost 1 year. 1980 was like a lost year.
Yes.
And that time also no school colleges. Also there was no online learning. That time. So we all the students, boys and girls, we are very active with all protest activities. So we lost almost 1.5 year. And finally, they scheduled the final exam. Then we did the exam, and I failed. I failed my +2
Okay.
first exam
Okay.
because of not having a school,
Yes, yes, yes.
And then I had also jaundice, very severe jaundice, because I was traveling all the time with this all agitation things, and that was also harmed me. And when I came back home and give the news to my parents that I failed, the father, Deuta was very upset because of financial things. Then mom said, "Jitu hoise tur bhalor karne hoise. What happened is good for you."
Yes.
Really, that was the turning point of my life. Then I became serious, I became focused, and I never stopped. And that was then I came back to the college. Then next year I got a first division. I was a topper of the Durham College. Then I took Guwahati Commerce College. I did my BCom. And then in final year of the BCom, me and one friend of mine from Digboi, Mahanta. So we were in a dining hall in Guwahati Commerce College hostel. And there was a ad in Assam Tribune about from Northeastern Council. They are offering 350 rupees a month for two students, boys or girl, to doing hotel management. So just for fun, we applied for that. Then we have forgotten. We don't know. And after the exam, after our final exam, then I didn't go back home. I kept my luggage in hostel room. Then I left to Delhi. That time my elder brother was Delhi. He was doing masters in JNU. So I went there to do ICWA, Indian Cost and Works Account.
Yes.
And I tried to enroll in an institute, but I knew my parents couldn't support us, both of us, to stay in Delhi that time, because you need 600, 700 rupees per month to stay in Delhi, the
Yeah.
cheapest way.
Yeah.
So I came back after 1 month because the parents, they said, no, we cannot do it. We don't have money. Then my hostel in charge, Tulikonath sir he was in charge of the hostel. I went to see him. Then he told me, I have a registered letter for you from NEC, Northeastern Council. Then that was my, they selected me for the hotel management course. That was the letter.
Yeah.
And next day I went to Shillong. And I asked few people there if anybody knows what is hotel management. And nobody could give me any information. There was nobody really tell me what is the study about. I took the risk. Then I came to Madras because we have select. There were only 4 institutes all over the India that time under of Ministry of Tourism: Delhi, Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. And I don't want to go to Mumbai because that was the Bombay because it's expensive. Delhi, I just have been there. And Calcutta, that time we don't like Calcutta, so
Okay.
like that. I don't like Calcutta, so I choose Madras.
Yeah.
Then I came to Madras. Then I did the 3 years hotel management. That was a huge experience for me. Then I came to know, because the institute were very, very high standard. We had also that time visiting teachers from Paris and Geneva. These are from the World Health Organization. They have some learning program for the developing countries. So those teachers we had, and from them we came to know about all the institute in Europe about further education in hotel and tourism management.
Sure. Okay.
So then I tried to come to Austria. It was also a big struggle. I took almost 3 months. I left. After the college, I had a campus interview and selected for a ambassador group of hotel for chef training. Then I joined Ambassador Hotel, and then my wish was I want to go abroad. So I left the job and looking for the money, and it took me almost 3 months. And 1988, I flew to Austria.
Okay. All right. So I think rest is history, isn't it? I think I'll come to you for the next bit, obviously. Unless you had, I think you have got more to say, I know, but I'll come back to you soon. But something that struck me was, people say that success is a series of failure, and it for you almost
Yes,
failing
yes.
in
That is
school almost
what
help
happened
you
to
to just
me.
to succeed. I would come back to Mridula now. You know, people, I think, especially parents, you would always see that they would not encourage their children to take cooking as a profession or as a livelihood. As a hobby it is fine, but it's not seen as if they will train their children to become a cook. So what do you think, Mridula? I mean, what needs to change so that today's young adults, growing children, they can feel a little bit more free and probably confident to pick up the things that they enjoy, and also take cooking as a livelihood? What would be
Mm.
your suggestion?
Absolutely, absolutely. I always say, follow your passion, follow your dream. If you know what you want to do, go for it. And I didn't know really I was going to become a professional cook. I was just following my passion those days. And I love cooking. And if you have that passion, I would say, yeah, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. Just build your confidence, because cooking is an art and science together.
Absolutely.
And you can, I look at my spice box as a um, artist palette, so you can color and tone your food as your mood takes you, and it is so therapeutic. So I just do it because food to me is love. And by creating recipes, sharing with everyone is what I'm doing is spreading love. And as George Bernard Shaw, I think it was, who said,
Yes.
"There's no greater love than the love of food."
Food,
So
yes.
true, so true. So keep going, because if you have that passion, if you love cooking, yeah, why not? It is unconventional, maybe, but so what? Today, so many chefs out there making a huge living out of cooking. And I know some male chefs, they said their parents never wanted, oh no, you can't be a chef because you have to be an engineer, you have to be a doctor. So, and they are really, they're very big chefs in London now. So
Yes.
cooking can totally be a profession. You can
Yeah.
make a good living out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so wonderful to hear from you, because in this panel I have got two people who are from the world of cooking, and they really have made a mark. And like we have been saying, the previous guest as well, the world has changed.
Yeah.
We can't live in the past now. We can't be stuck. And if cooking is your passion, just by all means go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Um, Coming back to Yasobanta, Dada, I think you want to say a little bit more about your journey. But what I wanted to also ask you is, no one can say that it came easy for you, because coming from a small village to to Austria, and then, like I said, building your own business and giving livelihood to people, it's all been quite a journey. So if I ask you that, are you a believer that anyone can achieve what they want to? Would you say the answer is yes? And if yes, then what is required? Maybe through your experience, if you can give some tips.
Yes, that is always I believe. The Jayanta told also that if you 100%, it should not be a 99.999. If you are 100% sure what you want, you can always achieve it. Problem is people are always not that sure. They are always confused. They don't know. They have always a second thought, and that always a hurdle. So that I believe also, and that helped me lots in my life. And thing is that after I came to Austria, especially the German speaking part of Europe, I learned many things. Today also I'm learning. First of all, we had a that is one what we learn in India. It was very informative education. We have the information, but we think we know. That is Mridula. I nice to know here to Mridula also, because she is talking about cooking and she's expertise on that.
Yeah.
See, just an example. If you say how to make a cup of tea, you can explain to anyone how to make a cup of tea. But you go to the kitchen, how many of us can make a proper good cup of tea?
Right.
You go to the kitchen, then you'll think twice. Shall I put one or two spoon of sugar? Is this the time to right time to put the tea now? So, or you'll call ma, please tell me. So that happened to almost everyone. So to knowing and to having information is totally two different things.
Yes.
And that I realized when I came here. And that is, and one second thing, what was for me very, very important was in my life that to knowing make no difference in your life. Knowing is good, but to do, we should not know lots of things. It's not necessary. But whatever we know, if we try to do that in your life, it makes changes. And that is what I learned from these people because the German speaking people are very pragmatic. They are very realistic people. And that is, they don't know. If you ask a 15-year-old boy here,
Yeah.
they don't know the capital of Bolivia here. If you ask him, there's a capital of, they don't know. They don't know the capital of India. But you ask a 15 years old a boy in India, he knows whole world everything. But what they know it very well. And you see, there are many rules of life. Like আমি ৰাতি সোনকালে শুবলৈ যাব লাগে, দেৰিকে উঠিব নাপায়, বেছি কফি চাহ খালে স্বাস্থ্য বেয়া হয়, eat dinner is bad, many things, but we don't follow. We don't follow. And that is,
Yes.
I think, the basic problem of the growing. If people follow the at least part of the rules of life, it helps to grow. And that helped me a lot. And cooking is thing, what the Mridula said, cooking is an art. Cooking is art, is like a other artist. It's very difficult if I ask Mridula how to make a butter chicken. She cannot give me exact recipe. My wife also very good cooker. She cooks very well. And when my children grown up, she was at home that time because I was very, very busy with my career and earning money. So we have also, like, I married to a girl who is from my village. We know from young age. And Rita, and she also, after the children grown up, she also came to the business and she took over now she's taking over the restaurant kitchen in Liechtenstein. So she is also a very good cook. Thanks God, is also God gift. And when I ask her, how do you prepare that? অকমান এইটো দি দিবা, অকমান সেইটো দি দিবা, অকমান এনেকুৱা কৰিবা, মানে exactly ক'ব নোৱাৰে কাৰণ it's feelings. And many feelings come during cooking.
Right.
So it's very difficult to give you exact recipe because when you cook, if two people are cooking in the same ingredients, same oven, same environment, but you see the both dishes will be different taste, and that is the difference. And what these are technical things that I learned here, and I think is very important. The people who is from my background, poor families or little lower middle class families, the boys and girls, to have courage to accept that what we don't know. That is very, very important. That what we don't know, we have to have courage to accept that, and that helps to grow.
Sure.
And that was, I think, is also very, very important. I feel for the young generation.
Yeah. No,
Sorry.
really good point, Dada, because one thing that you have said, you have to accept what you don't know, and secondly, you don't have to know everything, but you better be good at what you want to do. That's
Right.
And there's this thing, now facts and figures are there for Google to tell you, so you don't need to know what is the capital of India because Google will tell you. But you need the creative thinking to, I think, produce things. That's brilliant.
Just one more thing I want to add about the cooking. It's very interesting. You do lots of education in your life, and you develop yourself in your quality, talent, and your profession. But some small things, it's come to in your life, and it is so helpful. Like I told you যে আমি গোসাই মানুহ গাঁৱত কি হয় যেতিয়া ভোজ বনাই গোসাই মানুহে বনালে চবে খায় গতিকে আমাৰ দেউতা গৈছিলে সেই ভোজ বনাবলৈ
হয়।
Do you understand me, Mridula?
Sorry?
Do you understand me what I'm telling now?
অসমীয়া
একদম
দেউতাই ভোজ বনাবলৈ যায় ভোজ বনাবলৈ মোক লৈ গৈছিলে যেতিয়া মই সৰু আছিলোঁ এতিয়া কি হয় দেউতাই 200-300 মানুহৰ কাৰণে ভোজ বনায় and I got that education for quantity kitchen in that case from my father.
Yeah.
And that helped me today also.
Yeah.
Apart from doing my these 3 years hotel management, all the master chef and all, but that education what I received from my father for quantity kitchen until now it is helping me,
Yeah.
So that is one thing very interesting.
Yeah. I think it's the same thing Mridula said as well, because she picked it up actually from her family in some way.
My family.
Yeah.
You know what? I learned to cook in big numbers because I was a Indian food consultant for Tesco in the UK, and that gave me the experience of cooking in a factory for a huge number of people.
Yeah.
And I love teaching. My next passion is teaching cookery, and I always taught Indian cookery because that is how I got into cooking, because I went into night school to teach. Daytime I had to work, and my students encouraged me to write a book. I said, okay. I went, you wouldn't believe it, I was turned down by 35 publishers. But I kept going because I had confidence in me. And someone, small publisher, took it on. If I may show you this book is my first book. As you can see, it sold 250,000 copies. That was just after 12 months.
Wow.
And it was after 35 rejections. That's why I say, you have a passion, you have the determination, don't let anyone stop you. Go
on. This is again a very common thing. Dada said he failed and then life changed for him. For you, 35 times publishers refused to publish your book, and now this is like, it's called as the best in the world, So I mean,
the same publishers come back to me now to ask me to write books for them.
And the story is changed now. Coming to you, Mridula, I kind of wanted to know that there are women out there whose culinary skills are of high standard, but they don't feel empowered to take it as a source of income, So you have seen this world, you have experienced it. What advice would you give women that they feel empowered and they actually can consider, picking up cooking as a great source of income as well? What would you say?
I think, first of all, they have to learn to break the mold, right? Don't be suppressed by your family or friends, wherever. Those days are gone. We live in a new world now. You can do anything. I think they should just pick up their skills, and the best way to get yourself some feedback, to find out how good you are, start teaching. And that from that feedback, well, I'm talking from my personal experience, because I never taught cookery before. When I went out to teach, I thought I enjoyed it, and all the feedback I got from my students encouraged me to keep going and create more. I didn't teach from any other cookbooks. I created my own recipes, and that book I just showed you, that's the result of those recipes. So I think anybody who wants to make a living out of cooking, they can start anywhere, teach or have supper clubs at home, invite people. You can earn money that way, charge so much per head. That's a big trend these days, having supper clubs. And you can also go into some restaurants behind the scenes and learn from them. I did that as well. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's so wonderful hearing it from you because, when you said that, we should think of starting small because
Yeah.
it becomes daunting when we think
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
You can even find a colony where probably couples, they work, so they don't
Yeah.
have time for cooking. So, just target them, for food delivery. It
Yeah,
doesn't need
exactly. I
any.
mean,
Yeah.
that's what I've done during lockdown. I
Sure.
missed my teaching so much.
Mm.
I
Mm.
miss sharing my recipes. So I created some ready meals. They are being sold now in the shop.
Okay. Yeah,
Very
yeah,
true, yeah.
yeah.
So
And also,
they can do things like that. And there's so
yeah,
many things they can do from home.
yeah.
Food delivery from home. There's
Mm,
so many doors
this is it.
open
Abs-
here.
yeah, and today, I mean, you don't need investment for any of it. I think
No.
that's the beauty. Yeah. Uh, so coming to Yasobanta Dada, Dada, we are talking success today. I have got successful people in the panel, and I said before that because you can't quite define it, we have got perceptions around it. So if I ask you, what does success look like to you? What would you say?
Success for me is the happiness, mainly happiness. You should be happy what you have done. And success for me is the self recognition, it's not that others are saying about you. It's my, if I fulfill, if I say I'm happy, for me, like I did whole journey. And when I did my mastership, when I awarded by a chief minister of a province in Tyrol in Austria, the first foreigner. I was the first foreigner to get a master chef in Austria because it's very, very difficult. That
Yes.
was that day I really feel what is success. That day I feel myself because of not that medal or that certificate, because I feel innerly. I was happy for a long time. So that happiness, I think that is count always, because success is always a umbrella who puts you on your top. People always give you kind of a like recognition and certificate, but you always have to think and ask yourself, is it you, it makes you happy or not? That
Yeah.
is, I think, very, very important, what I feel. And that Jayanta also said very good thing, like I believe also all human beings in the world, they born with a hidden talent. All
Yeah.
everyone has a talent, and that is God gift. So if earlier you find it out and you work for it and you make it profession, nowadays in this world you can live very well. It
Mm.
not be a profession what we always categorize. So
Yes.
that is nowadays, and that is the best part of the world what I feel now. And that I think that we should also, the young generation also should try to find out that what talent they have, what they can give to the world. And I am 100% sure everybody, every child born in the world come with a talent with them. And that is
Yes.
Yeah.
problem is that we took very long time. Sometimes many of the people, they never found it
Mm.
and they died. And that is sad, the sad
Mm.
part. And thanks God, I am happy with myself that I found it in a time when it was necessary. And today, what I'm doing with passion, my heart, and I laugh to with the people. I'm a hotelier. I cannot think about doing anything than a hotel business.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Absolutely.
And yeah, this is in India and Assam. If I allow, do I have time? I don't know. Is it okay? Can I have
uh,
a minute?
yeah. Okay. A minute is
Okay,
good.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, just I want to say, because I'm getting an opportunity to tell my people, because in India and Assam especially, the restaurants and hotels industries are coming and happening, and tourism also booming. The thing is that we have to be careful about it. First of all, this hygiene, because the guests nowadays, because of now this whole thing, not because only for COVID, but the hygiene and safety of the guest.
Yeah.
The food safety is very, very important. So new entrepreneur, new generation, they have to really take care of this and take it very seriously and honestly, because our industry based on honest. You go to a restaurant, you don't know who is in the kitchen, whose person is cooking your meal, you always eat with 100% trust, and that is our responsibility to keep it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that is I always say to our new entrepreneur. Second thing, we have it's called, maybe you remember, we had PC, like telephone booth in
Yes.
Assam
Yes.
10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And somebody opened a telephone booth and someone he saw he's earning money. The next 100 meter, there is another telephone booth came out. In one time, there was every 100 meters in Assam, there was a telephone booth.
True.
So that culture we have, and we have to be really careful now, because when I go to Assam now, go to my house from Guwahati to Kauripathar, in Roha, before Nagaon, there are some Assamese dhabbas are opening.
Right.
Dhabas. And there in the beginning, it was only one or two. Now this is within 2 years, these are 50 dhabas are there.
Right.
So what happened? This all are going to close. No one is going to do well, and the qualities are going bad because competitions are coming. Is not healthy competition. So that is the government responsibility to do it, to see how many restaurants really needed, and that is here in Austria and Germany and Swiss is very, very strict. I cannot open a hotel here because I have money. They will not allow me if it's
No.
not needed.
Yeah.
And now I see in the COVID, this is what the government has power to control us, to control the society, to control the people who see it in a good way. I'm not talking about. So the government can really do it. And same thing happened in Kaziranga. You see, it's crowded with all lodges. It was not necessary. So we have to be really careful with hotel industry, restaurant industry. This is my industry and the tourism.
Yeah.
So I really want to be conscious. I don't know if it works or not, but I want to just leave my message.
Of course you
Thank
do. Yeah, no, you do. No, thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
I think the point was that hygiene is one, and a second
Yeah.
thing is obviously honesty. Is very, very
Honesty is
important
very,
as well.
very important.
Yeah, because we're running out of time. My last question to Mridula. Mridula, people again can say that you live here abroad. You have a comfortable life financially, probably. You're all right too. And so, following a dream can come easy to you. So, did anything come easy in any
No.
shape or form?
No, it's harder. It's harder. It's harder when you're away from home. I mean, India, Assam. It's much harder because you don't have any help. To give you an example, I used to get up at 5 a.m. to get in 2 hours work in my first book before I had to get my 2 daughters ready for school, give them breakfast, take them to school, come back, sit down, have a cup of tea, sit down and get on with my book writing, because when they go to bed at night, I would test my recipes. Then after I drop them at school, I would computerize them. Well, didn't have a computer those days either. I used to write on a memory typewriter. So it was much harder. You don't have any help. You can't tell somebody, "Oh, can you pick up my children from school?" You have to get the car out. You have to go yourself. So it's much harder. Never think. Yeah, maybe we live in comfortable houses and all that kind of thing, but life is never easy. You have to make it easy, because nowadays you can get home help. At the moment, you can't because of COVID. And if you can afford it, you can get somebody to come and do all your housework, cleaning, washing, and that kind of thing. But those days when I was first starting out, we did not have anything like that. Go to school, bring them back from school, take them for the extracurricular activities, bring them back, feed them, bath them, see to their homework, put them to bed, and then again start work.
Yes.
So it's never easy, never been.
It's never easy. I think, we bring home the point that nothing is easy for anybody, especially when they're doing important work, the work that has the potential to inspire others. It's never easy. And I think the moment we realize that, I think we can actually operate from a better place, in a different place where there is, again, no room for excuses. But, because of time limitations, we'll have to end here. But before that, I would like to say thank you to both of you. And, like they
Thank
said,
you. Thank you.
Success.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been so
No, not at all. It's absolutely my pleasure. And like they say that success is not what you have, but who you are. And I can tell you both that you both are a lifelong, learner. You have really learned how to walk the risky road with grace. And it is my truly my honor to have you both. And best wishes for the rest of the journey. And hopefully, I'll see you guys soon. Take good care. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
All
Hira.
right.
Thank you
Goodbye.
for having me, and wish you also all the best.
Thank
And
you.
hope to see you in Austria.
Of course. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Thank you.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Mridula. Bye. So that brings me to the end of today's show. As I told you in the beginning, that today our guest will help us to think and see things differently, and they surely did. Um, they made it clear that success doesn't belong to just a few. It is for anyone to explore. So please go ahead, make your own definition of success and have fun with it. With that, thank you for watching today's show. If you have liked it, then please drop a comment, or if you would like to cover any topic, then please drop a message too, so that we can cover in future. I would also like to thank the Sentinel for offering this platform where we can discuss topics like this. With that, do take care of yourself, keep well, healthy and happy, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.